We're going to try and use wall space today, or you can try and use a chair if you don't have wall space. And you are also welcome just to have a mat in the middle of the room, and you can do the poses anyway. So they'll just all be, I'll give lots of different variations, so we should all be good. So we're going to talk today about the 8 limbs of yoga as we've been working through them. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a summary of where we are so far. Let's see if we can actually see this. We've completed now the first limb, and the first limbs are yamas. And yamas are really teaching us how do we as individuals interact with the rest of the world, or how do we go out and interact with other people. Some of it is also about how we interact with ourselves and how we work with ourselves. But mostly it's about how do we go out into the world, and it gives us some ideas and some directions for dealing with the world in the most smooth ways possible. So there was 5 of them. We had ahimsa, which is non-violence, so being kind to others, being kind to yourself. We had satya, truthfulness, right? Being honest with others and also with ourselves. We had ashteya, non-stealing, so really making sure that we are not stealing other people's peace or our own peace, right? Or there's lots of things that we talked about that could be to do with non-stealing. We've got brahmacharya, using your energy wisely. We've only got so much energy. How do we use it in a way that really leads to peace within ourselves and offering peace to other people, or whatever that might be? And then finally we had a parigraha, which is non-attachment, which is letting go of how we think the world should be, and just taking each moment as it comes, taking people as they come, and appreciating each moment. So that was all the yamas. That was the first limb. So we're on to the second limb. They do speed up after this. But with the second limb is the niyamas, and we've also got 5 of them, and we're on the first of the niyamas. So niyamas are really, how do we deal with ourselves? It's much more about how do we deal with ourselves, right? So the first one is what we're working with today, which is Saucha. Now it might seem a bit of a strange one. It's purity, it's about cleanliness and taking care of yourself. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that. So with Saucha, right, we've only got one body in this life, right? We've only got one physical body, and we want to take care of ourselves really well. So we need to think about, you know, what do we put in our bodies? What do we eat, right? Are we eating toxins, or are we eating a clean diet? Or can we take care of ourselves through what we eat? Can we sleep well, right? Get enough sleep, take care of ourselves. Are we taking care of our minds, of our stress levels, all of those things? So it's really about taking care of yourself, and particularly at this time, we really need to think about taking care of ourselves, because it's really easy, and I know this, just to go to the fridge and eat a lot of chocolate, right? Or we get bored, or whatever it is, and it's okay. Those are fine too, not beating ourselves up about it. But what can we do to really, you know, take care of ourselves? And the other side of this is also about, you know, decluttering our lives. So we've got Mary Kondo, if you know about her, you know, she's about decluttering and taking, you know, reducing the amount of clutter that you have in your home. But we can also do that in our minds, right? When we grow up, you know, there's a lot of things that happen to us that affect us. And the way that we behave today is really molded by what happened to us when we were younger, how our parents treated us, you know, how we were treated in the playground, or how friends treated us. And we took a lot of that to heart, right? So if we were criticized a lot, maybe we think we're not worthy enough, right? Or, you know, there's all sorts of things, right? That might have come up when we were younger, that have set patterns in the way we respond to things. So if we, you know, if say, for example, my family, someone in my family, this happened last night, says, oh, we're having broccoli and cauliflower again, right? So I could take that personally and think, oh my gosh, they're criticizing me, they don't like, why are they complaining? It's, you know, I'm doing my best, right? But, you know, I could get really angry and go, I've just spent all this time in the kitchen, right? But it might bring up things that have happened in our past history as a family of how I felt I've been treated or whatever. But if I can come at it with a clean slate, right, and instead of like using all this past baggage, right, that's happened and then responding from that, if I can come with a clean slate to every situation, go, yeah, it's ridiculous. We have had a lot of broccoli and cauliflower. We can make it funny, right? And let's, should we have that again tomorrow? You can approach life differently. So the idea is coming. I don't know if that was a good example, but if we can come at each situation with a new, like with a clean slate, so letting go of those things from the past, the judgment, the criticism, anything that really affects how we respond and get on with life. So being aware of that and just seeing if you can let go and just come with a completely clean slate. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday, it didn't matter what happened last month or 10 years ago. Can we just approach the situation with an open mind and just have like a pure, clean mind without all that clutter and all that chatter and all those things that make us feel less than or whatever it is? Can we just come at it fresh with purity? That's with cleanliness. So that's how I see Saucha, or that's one way to practice Saucha. So that's where we're at. So that's why I thought today we would work using the wall, because we're going to look at each pose and maybe look at it slightly different, because we're on the wall. We're going to look at alignment. So we're going to sort of look at it from a fresh mind. And that's where we're going. So if you have a wall, you know, go for it and use the wall, or you can use a chair, or I'll give you options for just doing it in the middle of the room. Okay, so we'll get started. So we're going to find a comfortable seat. You can use a cushion, you can use a block, you can just sit on the ground, as long as you can bring your hips up above your knees and get a super long spine. Again, you can kneel, whatever works. Shoulders away from the ears, hands just relaxing on the legs. And you can close the eyes here. So before we even get started, you can see what kind of baggage you have going on in your mind. Just notice it. What kind of chatter is going on in your mind today or right now? And remember, we're working today to try and declutter it, as we do most classes of yoga, but we're just specifically paying attention to decluttering the mind, letting some of that baggage go, trying to meet this class with a clean slate. So even, for example, if you come to a pose and you haven't been able to do it in the past, instead of going, oh, I can't do this pose, or I hate this pose, maybe trying it with a new, fresh mind. And then bringing yourself into the present moment. So noticing any sounds around you just brings you right here into this space that you're in. What can you hear? And some of it might be really close to you, and some of it you might have to pay a bit more attention to, and it's further away. And then noticing with a fresh mind how your body is connected to the ground, all those points of contact. And also your fingers and your hands on your legs. Really notice that connection And then bringing your attention to your breath. Slowing the breath down and breathing long, slow breaths in and out through the nostrils. So really paying attention, making sure you're really breathing fully, full breaths. Quite often we just breathe very short breaths that just come to the chest. So we really want to move the belly as we inhale. See if you can expand through that belly and through the chest. And then you exhale, letting all of that go. Deep, deep, slow breaths, finding that nourishment that your body needs. So it's taking care of yourself by really breathing fully, letting that oxygen fill your lungs so it can really work around your body. And just checking in with yourself today, noticing how your physical body feels. Notice your emotions today and where they're at. And then again, checking in with your mind and seeing how busy or calm it is. And anything that you notice is all fine. You're just observing. The first thing we need to do is notice. Coming in tune with our bodies and paying attention. Now you can keep your eyes closed if you want and just bringing your left ear down to your left shoulder. And you can take your left arm, lifting it up overhead and bringing the hand just to rest gently on that ear, the right ear. So you're just feeling gravity, just gently pulling the pressure of your hand, just pulling your head down gently towards your left shoulder. It's really not, you're not yanking it, you're not doing anything, you're just resting it there. Now you might take your right arm and just lift it, stretch it over to the right side, lifting the fingertips about hips height and just reaching out. And now you might try and find a little bit of resistance in your neck. So what I mean by that is you're pressing your right ear into your left hand, just gently pressing it up. So you're pressing ear into hand, not the hand into the ear. So it's more the ear that's lifting into the hand. And then release. You can release that left hand down to your thigh and maybe just moving your head a little bit and finding a nice juicy spot, somewhere where it needs a bit of extra tension in your neck. And just breathe deeply here, remembering deep inhales and exhales through the nose at all times in yoga, unless given directions otherwise. Really nice inhales, smooth, slow inhales, and smooth, slow exhales. That right hand can drop. And then you're just going to gently move your neck around, or your head around on your neck, over to the right side. So it's the right ear coming to the right shoulder. You can bring that right arm up and gently resting the right hand on that left ear. And the left arm can just come out to the side, lifting up off the ground, hovering a bit. Taking a few deep breaths here. And then you can press the ear into the hand, finding a bit of resistance. Just notice how that changes the pose and what's working here. And releasing, that right arm can come back down, the hand can rest on the leg, and just moving the head around a little bit until you find a really nice juicy spot which needs a bit of extra attention, and breathe into that space. And then you can move your head down towards center. The left hand can come down on the thigh and gently picking up your head. You can open your eyes and bring your fingertips onto your shoulders here. So you're just bending the elbows. It's just the fingertips, you're tenting them here. We're going to do some breath work. So we're inhaling, going one way through the nose, and exhaling the other direction. So it's quite rapid. I'll show you. So go. And back to center, relaxing the hands down, closing the eyes one more time. Just notice how that movement, how that breath work warmed your body up. Notice where you feel maybe your muscles or any sensations in your body. And then you can pause here just for a moment. Gently opening your eyes here. And we're going to come into a standing. And we're going to come alongside the wall if you have the wall. Otherwise, I'll show you an alternative. So if you have a wall, you're going to take your right arm behind you. And you're coming away from the wall a little bit with your feet. So they're about a foot, like the width of your foot, away from the wall. So your arm is perpendicular behind you. You're opening up the shoulder here. You can have your hand in the middle. You can have your hand coming sort of in a half prayer. And you can even turn your toes in towards the center of the room. If you find the space, you're being really gentle, so you're looking after yourself. You notice how this feels, right? If you don't have the wall or a door or something to work with, you can always come into eagle arms, or you can come into a hug with your arms. So if you're coming into eagle arms, the right is the one coming over the left. So that's where you're going to go, and you press your elbows away from your body and up. Otherwise, you're breathing deeply. It might not seem like it's a very difficult pose, or you might find it challenging. You're just noticing, but just breathe here, opening through the shoulders. The other alternative, if you're away from the mat, and if you're not so keen on the eagle arms, you can always open up and lean forward, lifting up through your arms this way. So you've got lots of options. Taking one more breath here. And we'll work the other side. So you've got the arm, just making sure it's perpendicular to your body. And then you can turn your toes in towards the center of the room and breathe here. Again, if you're coming into eagle arms, it's left over right this time. And you're pressing away and up. Right? Or coming into whatever variation feels good to you. Breathing here. Long, slow inhales and long, slow exhales. Really nourishing your body with each breath. allowing any stress just to fall away with every exhale. Keep breathing. And then we're coming back to center. So the next plan is we're going to come into like a downward facing dog, an L shape, but against the wall. So the hands are going to be about hips height. You're pressing the hips back and up. So your feet might be hips distance apart. And you're really trying to find length through the back. You don't want to drop your head. You want your ears coming parallel with your arms. And you're just pressing. If you have a chair instead, you're doing the same thing. You're just pressing away with your arms and breathing. Deep breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Now we're going to take it a little bit more deeply here. You can stay here if this feels good, or you can play with lifting up through that right leg. So you try and you've got the hands pressing into the wall that help you to be able to lift up through that back leg, just higher than you might otherwise be able to do it. So you've got some balance, and try to keep the right hip even with the left. So we're trying not to open up the hip. We're trying to keep them even. The foot is activated, so the toes are coming in towards your body and placing it down, pressing back. So our downwards facing dog version here. And then we're going to lift up through the other leg. So again, if one side was challenging, come to the other side with a clean slate. Not saying, oh, that was so hard, I don't think I can do this side. Giving it a go anyway. Breathing here. And you can do this with a chair also, just be careful it doesn't tip. And the foot comes back, and you're just going to walk yourself up. Your hands can come up a little bit further. We're just going to do some chaturangas, or kind of they're like press-ups, but push-ups, but we're going to have the elbows are squeezing into the body. So we're just inhaling, coming back, and they're fairly easy because you've got no weight on it. Exhaling, coming down. So you're trying to keep your body straight. Inhaling, exhaling. So to begin with, they might seem fairly easy, and then they might get a little bit harder. Keep breathing, keep moving. Inhale back, exhale towards the wall, keeping the back and the length in the body. Last one, inhale, exhale here. Calming up. Now, we're going to work with the right leg coming up to the wall. Now, if you have a chair, you can also do this with a chair, but you might do it lower down. You can, if it's too much to put it up that high, then place it on the lower part of the chair. Okay? So you've got, so it doesn't have to come hips distance. You can put it any height on the wall. But you're trying to do it so that you're not leaning forward, that you're just upright. The rest of your body is upright. And then the hands can come to heart center. And you're just playing with this and breathing here. Trying to keep the hips even again. And breathing. So just notice how this feels. Where do you notice this? And then we're going to place the right hand on that right leg, and we're just going to open in a twist here. So it's a bit challenging. Breathing here. So you can do this with the chair also. And then we're coming back and we're switching the other direction. So we're just twisting the other way. Notice which muscles are affected this time or where you feel it in your body. So it can be quite challenging. Excellent. Coming back to center and release. Other side. So left side, lifting up any level, it's all good. Wherever you get to is fine. Being kind to yourself, being compassionate to yourself. We're not all yoga teachers, and even if we aren't that flexible all the time, right? So just being kind and coming to wherever you're at. Breathing here. And then we're going to bring the left hand on the inside of the leg and opening up, twisting here. Just giving it a go. If it doesn't work, finding an alternative. Inhale, coming back through center. And exhale, we're twisting open here the other direction. Just noticing how that feels, how the wall is helping or hindering. Coming back to center, releasing through the leg. Just notice how you feel here. Okay, so we're going to do some poses against the wall. You can do these absolutely on your mat in the middle of the room. So we're going to start out coming into a warrior two. You might want to block if you have one. If you don't, it's fine too, not to worry. So you can look, if you're doing it against the wall, you're trying to have about a foot width, your foot's width. So imagine another one of your feet was next to the one that's there. And so it's away from the wall, so you have a little bit of space for your butt. And then the idea is that your knee is directly above the ankle. And even if you don't have a block, you imagine you have a block there that you're pressing into the wall. So your idea is that you can grab on the inside of your thighs and you're opening them up this way. Opening them up, that's the kind of motion that we're trying to feel here. And then we're trying to find our warrior two against the wall. So you can press your shoulders into the wall. You can press your arms into the wall. And find your pose here. So just notice how the alignment changes it, or how it makes it easier, or maybe even harder. So your body, your torso is directly up and down. It's not leaning forward yet. Excellent. And then if you want, you can reach forward, finding that alignment from that back edge of your foot all the way up that side body. And then you can come down any amount here, pressing the right arm into the right knee. And finding space here. We don't want to collapse. We're trying to lift up here. And press the shoulder and arm, if it gets there, into the wall. And maybe look up at the fingers or at the ceiling. So you notice this should really help you find that alignment. Sometimes when we're in the middle of the room, it's hard. We might stick our butt out a bit more, or we might do something. But here, well, it's hard. It helps us to kind of keep it all together. But again, if you're in the middle of the room, just coming into your warrior two, and then finding your extended pose here. Extended side angle. Any variation that you like, if you want to bring arms, your right hand down to the ground, all good. Taking a breath here. And then we're going to come back up here, and we can straighten through that leg, the front leg. So we're coming into a triangle. So again, you're just feeling the wall behind you, if you have one, or just triangle on your mat in the middle of the room. And then we're going to reach again, finding that length in the side body. And then we just drop the arms, the right arm, wherever it gets to. The other one is still pressing into the wall, finding that triangle here. And you can always look up at the fingers. So if you want to try a variation where you've got your right arm coming parallel to the ground, it's quite challenging, but you can work that too, pressing it into the wall if you're on the wall. Excellent. So you're releasing here. And you're going to then step forward into a half moon. So you might use a block if you have one. Or if you don't have one, you don't need one either. But you're trying to stack the hip. So this left hip is opening up above the right hip. And you can bring your arms up and down, wherever they get to. And look up if that feels good. Toes are coming in towards your face. So you've got some support here, but it might help you to really open up just a little bit more, right? Something that if you're in the middle of the mat, you might be nervous to open your hips this wide or this, stack them this way, because you might feel you might topple, but you've got the wall there to support you. Taking a breath and calming on up. Just notice how you feel. The toes are going to come in. You're going to bring your feet out from the wall a bit. And we're just going to come down into a chair pose, but it's a supported chair. The arms can come up here. So if you're in the middle of the room on your mat, you're just coming into your chair and you're bringing the weight back into your heels. So we're finding this chair here. And we can also work a little bit with the shoulders. As we inhale and exhale, the hands don't have to come all the way down each time. They can just come as far as they get to, and then lifting back up. So just notice how this feels, where you feel it is challenging. And again. And then slowly coming up. You can fold over the legs. You can bend your knees any amount, just bringing yourself down. And you can roll up, bend your knees a little bit, roll up one vertebra at a time. Calming over to the other side. So if you have a block, you can use it. Otherwise, we're just calming into warrior two. So my back heel, I try and have touching the wall. And my front foot has a space, a little bit of space between the wall, and then I'm pressing my block against the wall. If you don't have one, that's fine. It's just getting that idea. And imagine that you can try it, grabbing your thighs and just opening them up so that you feel that rotation. Arms come up. Finding alignment, pressing shoulders into the wall. Breathing here. Long, slow inhales, long, slow exhale. We can inhale, reaching forward with the arm, bringing it down on that leg. And then you can bring the other arm up. Really pressing shoulders into the ground, finding that you're stacking into the wall rather, stacking those shoulders. And you can find any variation here if you want to bring that hand down to the ground. Working with that. Inhale, calming on up. You're going to lengthen through that front leg, triangle legs. Reaching forward, getting length, and then you can tip-top your hands up and down, your arms, finding length across your body, finding that your arms are stacking one on top of the other. And again, you can find length by bringing, or find work in the core, by bringing that left arm up. Deep breaths. And coming up, you're coming into your half moon here. So you can use your block, placing it down, stacking those hips. If you don't have a block, it's okay. You're just playing with leaning into the wall. Toes coming in towards your body, lifting up, looking up. Excellent. And calming on back. This time you can lean against the wall toes come out, knees over ankles, coming into your goddess pose. So the knees are pressing towards the wall, being gentle and kind with them. The shoulders are pressing into the wall if they can. And slowly coming up, the feet can come towards each other. So we're going to come down. You might need a cushion. So I'm going to put my cushion close to the wall and place my right knee on that cushion. So my knee is coming all the way to the wall, if I can get it there. And it's a bit awkward to get into it. So I'm coming into almost like a lunge, but I'm trying to bring my heel on the outside of my body. Now for me, I can press my body back against the wall. You might not get there, it might be quite painful. So you don't want painful, but you can get a stretch. So you might find you have to come forward a little bit and you're just gently inching back. And breathe. So if you're all the way back, that's fine. If you're further forward, that's fine. Just notice. If you're in the middle of the mat, you're just doing the same thing. You can use a strap or something, trying to pull this leg in, or your hand, or even a sweatshirt, just pulling that leg in. So you've got this. 3 deep breaths here. And then you can come forward a little bit. Really, that foot, that shin is still pressed against the wall. You can bring your hands down if you like, but you want to have your chest open. So you can have hands down, you can have them up onto your leg, but you're just pressing yourself forward, getting length here across the groin area. You're finding that length. Breathing here. Excellent. And then we're slowly going to find a way out. It's not so easy. Just notice how that feels on that leg. And you're going to switch sides. So again, that knee is coming close to the wall. Using a, you can roll up your mat or a cushion or something. And you're going to then bring that heel, if you can, on the outside of your body as you press back. Deep breaths. And then you can walk your foot forward a bit and you're just pressing forward. So you're kind of getting a lunge here. Either hands down on the ground or bring them up and breathe. And release. So you're coming out of that. We're going to come into, you can actually use the pillows still again. We're going to come into a back bend here, camel pose. So you're bringing your knees all the way to the wall. Your hips are pressing into the wall too. Thumbs are coming towards each other, elbows towards each other. So even before I've done anything, I'm already in a back bend. My hips are pressing forward. And I'm just finding openness through my chest, and that might be enough. Or if I've got more flexibility, I still press my hips forward so they touch the wall. And you can always bring your hands down, as long as you're still finding that connection with your hips and the wall. Taking a couple of breaths. And slowly finding your way up. You can sit down on your heels, hands down to your thighs. Just taking a couple of breaths. Notice how the openness in your chest feels. And then we're going to move the cushion aside. We're going to come into a plank pose. But what we're going to do with the plank is your toes are coming a little bit away from the wall, and you're going to press your heels into the wall. So I often say when we're in plank, just in the middle of the room, just press your heels back to get length. So I'll show you. So I've got my fingers spread wide on the ground. I'm pressing my heels into the wall here and taking 3 deep breaths here. Now we're going to come down on the forearms and still remain with those heels pressing into the wall. If you're in the middle of the room, just press your heels back. Now you've got choices here. You can either just put your knees and your hips down and come into a Sphinx pose, or you can stay where you were in plank pose, or you can try lifting your feet up the wall and coming into a more challenging pose here. Breathing here. And slowly calming down wherever you are. You can just open your knees up and find yourself in a child's pose. Finding length through the back, inching the fingers forward. Slowing the breath down, slowing the heartbeat down. And then you can slowly rise up, rolling up. So we're going to come into a downward facing dog with the heels pressing into the wall, just as we did. And then you've got the option of coming into an L shape, so it's kind of like an inversion. You don't have to go there, so you've got options. So I'll show you. We're going to spread the fingers here, and then you can press your heels back. So you can use it to help you press back and up with your sits bones in downward dog. You can have your knees bent still if that feels good, and take a few breaths here. If you want to take it further, you can walk your feet up the wall, and you're pressing your legs out, and you're trying to find an L shape here. So it's not so easy, it's challenging. It's like a half handstand. Breathing here wherever you're at. It might be a bit shaky, it might be challenging. And whenever you're ready, coming down, knees open, finding your child's pose here. Deep breaths into the back, feeling the space between your shoulder blades, moving with your inhale and your exhale. And slowly finding your way up. So you've got another option here. You can either come into a headstand with a wall behind you, and I'll give you some suggestions on how to do that. If that doesn't feel good today, you can come into a squat, and you can have your back against the wall if you've got that available, and you're just lifting, opening through the chest as you do that. If you're coming into a headstand, you're making a triangle with your arms, and you want to have an equilateral triangle. And then what you'll be doing, so you can grab onto the outside edges of your arms to feel it to the elbows, and then you interlace your fingers. You've got to be really careful. I'm not there to help you, so that's why the wall is helpful. You can bring your head down, and you're rolling onto the top of that head, and you can play with lifting one foot or the other and bringing yourself up. Being really careful, kind to your body, and playing with that. Otherwise, any variation or anything that you'd like right now, just taking a few moments, breathing wherever you're at, and then everybody coming down. We're finding ourselves back in squat, pressing into the wall with the shoulders, with the back. Excellent. So we're now going to come with legs up the wall. So if you don't have a wall, you just have your legs straight up in the middle of the room. Otherwise, you can find your butt coming as close to the wall as you can and bringing the legs up the wall. So this is a marvelous restorative pose. You can have your knees a little bent if you need to. You want your lower back pressing down into the wall. Taking a couple of breaths here. This itself is an inversion. And then you can open the legs, finding a straddle here. Toes are coming in towards your body, so you're activating the legs as you find space and openness here. Again, it's supported. So just notice how it differs from when you do it in the middle of the room. Your shoulders are pressing into the ground, into the mat. 3 deep breaths here. So we've got the option, we're going to bring the feet back together again. We've got the option of another inversion. So you can either just stay in legs up the wall and enjoy that, or you can bend the knees and press yourself up. So you're trying to bring your hips up. This is the beginnings of shoulder stand here. But you're trying, hopefully with the wall, you put less pressure in your neck here. So don't look around in this pose, just come up. And you can, if you want to, you can bring your hands to your lower back, and you can come all the way up if you like, or you can just stay in the supported variation. So just breathing wherever you're at. And then slowly bringing your hips back down. You're going to move your right leg all the way down to the ground if it reaches there. So you're making kind of an L shape here. Your right hand can come up to the sky and your left comes out. So it's opposite arm out to the leg. Taking a couple of breaths. And then switching over. So the arms come up, the legs come up, and we just go in the other direction, trying to find space. We're just lifting, the toes are active. Finding your pose. And then coming up to center. The arms can drop to the side. Now, you're going to bend the right leg, the right knee, and bring the right ankle over the left. The toes are active, so they're coming in towards your knee. You can gently use your right hand to press that right knee towards the wall, but just being gentle here. And then you can bend the left leg any amount to help bring this a little bit deeper into the, so the pose will get a little bit more deep the more you bend that left leg. Remember to activate the toes here. 3 deep breaths. And then we're going to switch sides, so releasing up first, and then the left ankle coming over the right knee, left hand, compress the knee a little bit further, a little bit towards the wall. The toes of that lifted, of the bent knee, foot coming in towards your knee. And then you can bend the other leg any amount, finding more intensity, pressing the lower back down into the ground and taking 3 deep breaths here. Legs coming back up to the ceiling, pressing the hips and the lower back down into the mat again. You're going to bend through the knees, feet pressing on the wall. So now we're going to come into a spinal twist. Your right arm coming out perpendicular to your side. And we're going to walk the feet over to the left side. So your feet remain on the wall, pressing into the wall as you twist. You can always look over the right arm if it feels okay on your neck. You can close your eyes if you like. Three deep breaths. Coming up through center. Both your arms can come out to the side for a moment. And then bending the knees again, you're walking over to the right side with the feet. The hands can come onto the top of the knees. You're just looking over your left arm if it feels okay. Otherwise, just gaze up at the ceiling. Closing your eyes if it feels good or having a soft gaze. Enjoying the spinal twist. And then you can slowly walk your legs back up. Now you've got a choice here. Maybe it feels good to do Shavasana with legs up the wall today. And so you can just leave your legs here with your arms just coming out to the side. If that's not your preferred way of doing Shavasana, you can always just come lying down on the ground in our regular Shavasana and just pressing yourself into the ground, whichever way you choose. Closing the eyes, allowing yourself just to let go of control of everything. You don't need to control the breath anymore, not even your thoughts. You're just being in the moment. And you don't even have to think about that. Just be. So, feeling the ground beneath you, feeling the wall if you're connected with the wall. And just scanning your body from your toes all the way up to your head. And just do it methodically and see if you can see if there's any tension, any remaining tension left anywhere. And if you notice it, just see if you can soften in that area and let go. And then give yourself the gift of surrendering, letting go completely. Finding a little bit of movement in your fingers and in your toes, and maybe moving your head from side to side. You can stretch your arms up overhead, finding length through your body. And then for everybody, regardless if you've got legs up the wall or not, bending the knees and bringing your knees into your chest, giving yourself a really lovely hug, giving yourself an unconditional hug here and a squeeze. And then you can roll onto your right side into a fetal pose, using your arm as a pillow if that feels good. And just notice the floor beneath you there to support you. And then you can gently press yourself up into a seated pose. You can use a block or a cushion underneath your seat if that feels good. Turning the palms face up, thumbs and index fingers touching. Shoulder blades slightly coming in towards each other at the back. And sitting up really tall. I'm going to end the class with square breathing, which means we inhale for the count of 4, hold the breath in for the count of 4, exhaling for the count of 4, and holding the breath out for the count of 4. So we're going to get started, taking a deep inhale here. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then releasing the holds, just breathing through the nose, inhaling and exhaling. And just notice how you feel. Bringing hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching out to both sides and all the way up, hands touch. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhaling, reaching, gathering positive energy. And exhale, bringing it in towards the heart. One more time, reaching out and up. Exhaling, bringing it in. Finding some gratitude towards yourself for taking care of your body and mind today. That's part of Saucha. We were talking about purity, cleanliness, taking care of yourself. So recognizing that. And then bringing the hands up to the third eye center between the eyebrows. It's a pleasure guiding you through your practice today. And we say namaste. The light in me sees and honors the light in me. Namaste. Thank you so much.